We are only a few days away from Remnant 2, the much anticipated sequel to Remnant from the Ashes. Today we're going to be taking a look at what the game actually is, what's changed from the first game, all of the information you need to know about it, and why I am excited, and why you should be excited about the launch of the game. So let's jump in. First of all, we need to know what is Remnant 2, because you may have never played Remnant from the Ashes. Remnant 2 is a third-person action shooter that can be played in co-op and solo. It isn't taken away from the formula of the first game, and it's essentially a Soulsborne type game with guns, but there's a lot more to that. It's releasing on July 25th, and also there's an early access period on the 21st of July with multiple classes, bosses, and challenging enemies. This is going to be one that you're going to want to check out. If you played the first game, you may be thinking, what's changed? Well, the first big upgrade is the amount of tiles and replayability from the first game. A lot of Remnant is procedurally generated dungeons, and every time you load into a dungeon, there will be self-contained stories within each location that you visit in the game. Whilst there is a main story thread that you can follow, no two playthroughs will be the same. There's more variety, there's more tile sets that you can go through when traversing them in gameplay, more bosses, more challenging enemies, and more fun to be had. There has been reworks to multiple systems in the game, including a new archetype system, changes to armor, and how the player moves in and out of combat. But let's go through the most important of those, which is archetypes. Archetypes are Remnant's class system. You'll have unique perks and skills and gameplay styles that can be good for co-op and solo. There are 5 starting archetypes at launch. That includes the Gunslinger, the Handler, Challenger, and Medic, and the last one is the Hunter, which was released just yesterday. Each of them have a varied playstyle and build crafting options, meaning you have different ways to play and revisit the game in the future. Archetype perks are similar to Remnant from the Ashes, meaning that you can level up these passive abilities to enhance gameplay, but you have one prime perk and you have a chosen playstyle with 4 additional perks that you can unlock as you play. Each archetype has 4 perks. Damage, which obviously helps scale your damage output, which is increasing range, damage, fire rate, that type of thing. Team, which buffs your allies if you are solo to yourself, giving you things like additional ammo, armor, and even giving your teammates some health on pickup. Utility, which provides buffs and blends well with the archetype gameplay, such as reload speed buffs, movement speed. And then lastly, we have relics. Relics are a strong effect that you get for a short duration after using a relic, so things could be increased range damage for 10 seconds or increased critical strike chance for 10 seconds. These are some of the examples. Archetype traits are an additional system of passive abilities that you level up when you level up an archetype. The issue you'll have is not every trait can be leveled to max on the amount of levels that you will gain for it, so you have to pick and choose what you need for your build. You'll be able to swap these traits out for a round for a cost, but it's used in different builds, and there will be a limited number of trait points to go around, so it's going to be able down to you to build craft the way that you want. Archetype skills are your active abilities that will give you buffs, heal, or do things with range effects and such, and they are locked behind each archetype. Skills will have cooldowns, but you can swap skills around for free and find out what works best for you. Remnant 2 this time won't punish you for wanting to swap between a different archetype. You will, however, have to level the new archetype from scratch. So if you start off with the Handler, you keep all of your progress all the way up to, say, level 10. And if you want to go on to the Challenger, you can keep doing that and you won't be punished on doing so. At a certain point in the game, you will have access to dual archetypes, meaning that you can combine 2 archetypes into one class. You can pick one of the traits to be your prime perk, i.e. Iron Cylinder from Gunslinger, and then a secondary trait, Steed and Swell, from the Challenger. You also get access to 4 more perks, skills to mix and match with your main archetype. But let's actually talk about what archetypes there are starting out in the game. First up, we have the Western Classic in the Gunslinger. The Gunslinger is Remnant 2's way that you want to go when you want to maximize your DPS. Their prime perk is Loaded, which allows for all of your weapons to be fully reloaded and gain infinite ammo for 15 seconds, meaning you can go to town on enemies. The Gunslinger has 3 skills, which include Quick Draw, Sidewinder, and Bullet Storm. Quick Draw pulls out a 6-shooter and fans the hammer towards enemies. Sidewinder gives you increased movement speed, draw speed, and swap speed between all of your weapons, and also reloads that next weapon when you swap to it. Bulletstorm is as awesome as it sounds. It gives your weapons fully auto and critical chance, plus increases the fire rate and reload speed. So if you have a bow, or if you have yourself a variety of slower weapons, these can go and be fully auto. Perks on this archetype include buffs to damage, ammo pickups, reloading, and increased damage from range. The Challenger is your up-close and personal destroyer. It has the balance between tankiness and being in the enemy's face, laying out as much damage as possible. Their prime perk allows them to become invulnerable for 5 seconds and gain 75% or more health back, but they can only do this when they are receiving fatal damage, so it's super useful if you're up close and personal with the playstyle to survive a critical blow. The skills that you have on offer are War Stomp, Juggernaut, and Rampage. War Stomp is a ground stomp that staggers enemies around you and has 2 charges, and Juggernaut makes the Challenger unstoppable, getting increased movement speed, melee damage, and stagger damage is reduced. Rampage is the final skill that gives buffs to your fire rate, reload speed, movement speed, and also gives you a stacking buff of Rage, and this damage stack will basically double the previous effects of the other perk. The perks for the Challenger are boosts to range and melee to close quarters enemies, damage reduction to surrounding enemies when activating a skill, reduction in stamina cost, and stacks to bulwark, and increase to damage within 10 meters. The Handler is perfect for if you want to have a companion. The Handler has a dog companion that you're going to be able to control, and this could be good for solo players, as the prime perk for Handler allows the companion to revive you and also revive allies if you have a Dragon Heart in your inventory. There's 3 skills that the Handler has access to are Guard Dog, Support Dog, and Attack Dog. Guard Dog allows you to get damage reduction and can be used on themselves and allies. Basically, the dog will stand in the way and take damage for you. Support Dog heals allies every few seconds and also adds increased movement speed. And Attack Dog gives increased damage to the companion, but also can increase the damage for you and your allies. The perks for the Handler are things such as increased damage whilst the companion is nearby, increased movement speed and reduced stamina cost, increased revive speed plus less damage whilst reviving, and a relic perk that heals the companion to full and also gives them damage and damage resistances. The main support class in Remnant 2 is the Medic. The Medic is pretty simple. Support your teammates, keep yourself alive, and their prime perk allows you to restore 250 health to allies and regain a relic charge. Plus, resting at a world stone or respawning gives you these abilities back a little bit more frequently. The 3 skills that the Medic has are follows: Wellspring, Healing Shield, and Redemption. Wellspring allows the players to slam an AoE healing sword for themselves and teammates into the ground. Healing Shield sends out a healing energy to allies. While they are shielded, they generate 30% of their maximum health. And Redemption is a way to instantly revive allies and restore them back to 75% health over a few seconds. For every additional second that the Medic holds the skill, they can add an additional 75% all the way up to 300% extra health. Now, the playstyle will vary depending on how much health your teammates have. The perks of the Medic include boosts to damage, buffs for the relic perks and healing values, increasing the tankiness of the Medic, and also faster relic use speed. The 5th and final archetype for the video is the Hunter, your long-range specialist. Taking advantage of their prime perk, Dead to Rights, which allows you to extend the duration of skills beyond their initial duration. The 3 skills that the Hunter has is Hunter's Mark, Hunter's Shroud, and Hunter's Focus. Hunter's Mark will allow enemies to be marked for the Hunter and gain increased critical strike chance against marked enemies for you and your allies, and also increased range and melee damage for the Hunter. Hunter's Focus applies a mark to an enemy and puts the Hunter into a focus state, amplifying their damage to weak spots and giving them increased critical chance. Hunter's Shroud allows the Hunter to become invisible and mark all enemies within a radius, and the Ambush allows for increased damage to marked targets with ranged and melee damage. The perks that the Hunter has are things such as damage boosts with the Deadeye perk. Getting kills will allow for more ammo drops for you and your team, faster movement and reload speed, and the Relic perk allows them to extend the duration of the hunter skills and damage to marked targets. Now we know all of the classes and how they were set up, let's talk about your loot and gear, because that's a big part of the build crafting element in the game. There's been a big rework to melee weapons in Remnant 2, making them feel very viable in later portions of the game, alongside a really cool looking greatsword that's made of this huge chain blade. It's super cool and I think the challengers will love using this. There's also a variety of guns, including some new additions like a bow and arrow and a crossbow, such as fully auto AA-12 gun as well, an LMG, and even a rework to an old favorite weapon, a ricochet gun. There's going to be some legendary type weapons that have got some really cool effects on them that you're going to be wanting to get your hands on. You'll obviously collect weapons and armor, but there's also rings and an amulet that will let you increase the possibilities of your build crafting. Remnant 2 is not only offering upgrades to gear, archetypes, but new worlds to explore, new bosses and enemies. Gunfire Games have also made sure to add a variety of enemies this time around that you'll be facing, not only in combat, but in the different realms that we'll be exploring. One such new realm will be like this technological grim future type deal that has a very cool like post-apocalyptic vibe that I want to check out. Not only that, but some of the bosses are surely going to cause some players some real problems in the game, and from the gameplay videos we've got to see, they are pretty damn intense. Why should you be excited for Remnant though? It's a massive upgrade on the previous game, a lot of the systems have been reworked, and it's a nice challenge in the third-person action genre alongside the replayability. I played a lot of the first game. It was really fun, but it did have some drawbacks. But I think that Remnant 2 is a massive upgrade on the first game, and I think a lot of people will be interested in jumping in for the first time, and I definitely think you could play this game without even having to play Remnant from the Ashes, and I certainly will be covering this game in the near future because, hey, it's got builds in, and it's got some really cool gameplay, and that's all you have to say to get me to sign up to get involved. But are you interested in Remnant 2? Let me know down in the comments section. Are you excited? Did you play the first game? I want to engage you in the comments section. And if you are new here, please leave a like on the video, subscribe as always, and turn on that notification bell. And as always, this has been Jimbo, and I'll see you guys next time.